Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Walking Dead Wednesday here on our podcast. Today we're discussing Fear the Walking Dead, 12th episode of Season 7. I am Sam, for anyone joining us for the first time. Here's my partner in crime, the man who discusses all sorts of stuff and things with me. It's Stefan!
If they're joining us for the first time this late on,
Yeah.
where have you been for the last 5-7 years?
But welcome.
But hey, how you doing? Yeah.
Now, there is a reason why I've done that, and that is because I've actually had several emails from people who have joined us recently.
What legends? What legends?
And they've actually they've made a few points, and one of them was, I don't get the sheer amount of in-jokes you do. So, is there any chance that when you do a joke, you could explain it more? Now, I often feel that if I have to explain the joke, it's not funny.
Yeah.
But I do understand where you're coming from. So, I do think we need, as a show, to kind of say, we do talk about lots of different shows. The Walking Dead universe, Marvel, Star Wars, lots of things. And if you want to check out the full library of everything we talk about, you can go to our website, which is all the W's, stuffandthangspodcast.com. Thang spelled Thangs, just to be clear. And you can find the full library there of every show we talk about. And it's also an archive as well. So if you go on there and you spot like, oh, The Witcher, they talk about The Witcher, great. And you want to listen to those shows, they're all there. You can stream them on any device, anytime, all for free. Anyway, website plug aside, because we do that, me and Stefan talk on a regular basis, all these different things, sometimes multiple times a week doing podcasts, which basically means that sometimes the jokes transfer from show to show, but our audience is very different show to show. There's very few people who listen to us that watch every single thing that we do. So yes,
trust me, we watch a lot.
Yeah, so I take the critique on board. The lady's name is Victoria, completely valid. Victoria's from Canada. And thank you for the email.
Did she word it really politely?
The email was lovely.
You expect that? It's Canada. Yeah.
It was dripped in a kind of hug. I felt like I come away from this, I was critiqued, but in a loving, caring way.
She said things about what we were talking about.
Well, now we've lost her as a listener. What the hell?
Sorry, that's the only thing. When anyone ever says Canadian, my instant thing goes about.
Well, yeah.
And sorry, thank you, about. Sorry, thank you.
Well, you need to stop that right now, or she'll call the Mounties on us.
That's fair.
But genuinely, no. Thank you very much for the email. And you're right, we do that, and I do pick myself up on it a little every now and again. But I will try my best that if I'm talking on one show and I make the joke into the next one, I will try and at least back sell it for you.
Yeah, most jokes are made at my expense normally because I've said something that I shouldn't have done, and Sam has it recorded as a sound clip.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really do. I'm really looking forward to actually. We've upgraded our podcast equipment, and very soon the styling and the kind of the show is going to change ever so slightly. The same me and him, but we will be recording it a little bit differently. So I'm looking forward to the challenge of the change because we've done it the same way ever since we started. Podcast started in 2016. So we're now 2022.
Just a boy in Bristol and a boy in America talking about shows, and now it's a man in Bristol and a boy from Essex.
Yeah. You keep calling yourself a boy. You're 31.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, enough about that. So big thank you for that. Now we did get another email specifically to Fear the Walking Dead. Now the email we had was from a gentleman called John. John is in the UK. Didn't say whereabouts, so hello John, I hope you're still listening. John was curious, and so we'll open the show with this question this week, is why are we watching the show and critiquing it if we clearly don't like it?
Because Sam makes me, because we do a podcast.
And for all the people from AMC listening, thank you for considering us for that deal and goodbye. But no, all joking aside, John did say that in the email. Again, he was very polite. He said he enjoyed our thoughts, but he's curious as to why we seemingly really don't like the show and yet spend time out of our day to watch, make notes, prepare, then record a podcast about it.
I think it's less about us not liking the show. I think it's more, especially with Fear the Walking Dead, was when Fear the Walking Dead started and the concept of what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I think everyone, including us, had these massive high hopes of we are going to see everything before the world fell. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then it happened very quickly. And then it jumped around in time again. And we've had a couple of seasons of not greatness. The last couple of seasons have actually been really, really good.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it was the first half of this season, I think it was, that we binged.
Yeah.
And when I say binge, I was 2 or 3 episodes a day. I watched through that because it got me. And I was like, yes, this is kind of the good TV we wanted.
Yeah.
We've come back from the mini break.
Yeah.
And this season, I just don't think... It's not that we don't like it, it's just that they've now set themselves a standard of what the first half was, and this half hasn't reached that standard yet.
Yeah, I mean, there are several things that I'm going to talk about as we go through this episode, because compared to what we've been served up so far in 7B, this was different and a step up, but there's still a lot of flaws in the way of the story being told, in my opinion. Like you just said then, there's a perfect thing about Fear the Walking Dead, and it's something that me and you've run into quite a lot on our Marvel shows, which is the expectation level and the way something is sold to us and presented to us gives us an idea in our minds of what it's going to be. Then when it's not that, it is very difficult to enjoy it, because you kind of like, oh, I sat down to watch this, but it's this. Now, at that point, you can go, well, it's not for me then, or you can sort of try and get over that, you know. I was going to say get over yourself, which is probably the right term, but you get over that kind of, okay, it's not what I thought it was going to be, let's see what it actually is then. Yep. Now, with Fear the Walking Dead, I think it's worth pointing out that the original concept was developed by Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman is the writer and creator of the Walking Dead comic. He basically sold the rights to the comic to the AMC to create the show, but then he was very hands-on with creating the spin-off Fear. This was original concept. There's no comic book content for this at all, so his involvement for season 1 and the concept vanished once they had creative differences over the show. Robert Kirkman wanted it to be a set before and never moved from that. In LA, on the West Coast, and just be purely all around the fall. So like episodes would be days. So, you know, we could be at season 7 now and still only be a few months into it. You know, it just literally always be set right at the start.
Yeah.
So that concept was good, didn't happen. They, in essence, created what me and Alfie used to joke about, and I think me and you used to joke about, rather, you know, like the NCIS shows. It became Walking Dead Miami, Walking Dead Mexico, Walking Dead LA.
Yeah.
It was just dotted around, and they seemed to be wanting to race to catch up to the other show. We then later find out that Mr. Gimple wanted to do crossovers, wanted to integrate it all and create a Walking Dead universe. The
Zombieverse.
The Zombieverse. See, if they called it that, that'd be cool. That'd be alright. And that's what they've done. Now, don't get me wrong, the crossover episodes, etc., I enjoyed. I like Morgan as a character. Morgan on Fear, I think, has been good. I felt it stumbled a little bit, but then in season 6, it really found a kind of a niche. The Teddy, the cult, the nuclear fallout, then also from a storytelling point of view, gave a whole new element of like danger and fear, for want of a better word.
Yep.
And then, so the first part of season 7, due to COVID, due to my illness, we didn't do it episodically. Once I recovered, we literally did, okay, we're going to wait for the final episodes, and we're going to do a podcast talking about all of them. So, like, you binged them, I binged them.
Yeah.
And then we did a show just basically really complimenting it. Really quite impressed with the pacing, the storytelling, and everything they'd done.
The new aspects they put into it with the radiation effects and everything else. It was all good stuff.
The key, if I was to pick one thing out from that, though, so if I was to pick one thing from 7A, which really captured me, you, and I think a lot of people who are fans of the Walking Dead genre, was the story around Alicia being bit and not turning, but clearly having the virus.
Yep.
So we were left with so many questions. Does she have some sort of natural immunity? Has something happened with the radiation which has caused this? Remember, she's had a brush with radiation poisoning before. You know, back when they were in the area where they had the nuclear reactor melting down.
When they first met Grace,
Yeah, so there were a lot of questions, and I think perhaps going into 7B, I don't think it's unfair for us as an audience, and me particularly, to be expecting that to be explored, or that to be a discussion point, or just that to be a focus. Yeah. And we've had nothing. We've even had a bottle episode that she starred in, and she's still ill. She's still only got one hand, but nothing. We learned nothing. Nothing came of that. And it's the equivalent of kind of like, you know, building up to a story, building up. You know, imagine like a massive epic movie and everything's building towards this climactic fight, and everything gets there, and then when you get there, you get an additional 3 hours of everyone talking about something else.
I genuinely thought you were about to make reference to Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah,
you build up to this one giant battle, and then you can't see it because it's filmed in the dark with no lights whatsoever. Yeah. Victoria, that's a joke. Go back and listen to the Game of Thrones podcast. You'll understand.
There you go, the man. See, good boy, good man. Yeah,
I can do this. I can cross-reference all day. This is fine.
So John, thank you. You know, thank you for your email. I hope that's better explained it. It's not a case of us not being fans of the show, not being fans of the Walking Dead universe. It is a case of us looking at this and going, I don't understand what they're doing with this. And we will go into a bit more detail of that in this episode. So hopefully you'll stick it. Now, we did have one other email from someone who's brand new to us listening. The person who's listening is Lyra. I think it's Lyra. And if I'm getting that wrong, I am really, really sorry. Please correct my dumbass. I'm from Bristol in England, and I butcher names. Lyra is from somewhere else. Lyra, where are you from? Lyra, speak to me, Lyra. Lyra is from California in the USA. And she's from a place in California I cannot pronounce.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not even going to try.
She's from Cali, that's fine.
Yeah, it's California. Everyone knows California. Thank you so much for your email. It was really kind. So Laura joined us because she's a big fan of The Walking Dead. She came across her podcast. She used to listen to Two Dead Chicks, the podcast show. I know them. They're great. And she basically stumbled across us thanks to a Twitter interaction. And she joined, listened back. She said she really enjoyed our take on Fear the Walking Dead so far. Completely agrees with us that something just feels weird with this half of the season. Looking forward to our show about episode 12. She's watching on AMC. She's actually ahead of us. So she's watched episode 13 now. But is obviously listening to us going back. So, here we go.
God, that'd be confusing.
Yeah. The whole AMC Plus thing in America just really impacting the global podcasters. But anyway, let's talk about it then. So this is Fear the Walking Dead season 7. Fear the Walking Zed. I just said that. I'm really losing.
That's the next ones. Yeah. That's the European version, the Zeds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much so. Fear the Walking Dead season 7, episode 12, and the title of the episode was
Sonny Boy.
And that is another tradition on our podcast. But anyway, I'm going to talk very quickly about the cold open, and the reason why I want to talk about the cold open in particular is because I think this demonstrates something that I am struggling with, the way they are telling the story this season. The cold open is Victor being paranoid, and we are seeing people in the tower being fanged with walkie-talkies and are being thrown off the tower roof and being killed because they've got walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
What?
All I got from this is that when Morgan broke in and poisoned him,
yeah,
and then he didn't die anyway,
yeah,
it's made him go like proper OTT.
Yeah.
But he's now just literally killing anyone.
Yeah, so this is my critique on the way they're telling the story.
Yeah,
and you tell me if you think I'm being unfair. The fact that a resistance has been created within the tower, and people within the tower don't want Strand as their leader, and they have gone as far as organising, communicating via walkie-talkies, and they have developed that. Isn't that the sort of thing that we as an audience could have seen?
Yes.
Couldn't that have been a plot point? Because literally this episode opens with people being killed for it with no context,
We've never heard about it before, and now people are getting thrown off a building.
It's literally just... And don't get me wrong, they're not characters we know, so it's not like a character that we all know and love has just been murdered and we're like, why? Oh, because they had a walkie-talkie. Oh, right, thanks. But just because... These are, for one coin a Star Trek part, and these are red shirts, just people that are just being randomly thrown over the top, all screaming that they've done nothing wrong. Now, I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, and this isn't the first time in 7B where I've gone, have I missed something? Did I miss an episode? Quite literally, the very first episode back in 7B, me and you both messaged each other and said, have we missed one? Did we miss... What have we missed? This feels like... Who the hell's that? Well, where are we?
Yeah.
And that is a... I mean, for me, I don't know what other people think, but for me, that's flawed storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah, like... Something like that. They've made an entire episode basically based on the paranoia of Strand and these whole walkie-talkie thing. Because that's a major part of this story. And him not trusting because of the walkie-talkie and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, we've never heard of this walkie-talkie thing before.
Yeah.
Why is this such a big thing if it's never been mentioned at all before, or hasn't even been, like, padded out properly?
Yeah.
You, walkie-talkie dead. You, walkie-talkie dead. And there's us going, what's the deal with walkie-talkies? Are they talking to the outside? Are they talking to each other? Yeah. Are they talking to Morgan?
Yeah.
Why is he so paranoid?
Yeah, and it's one of those things, because you watch this and you think, okay, this episode is going to tell us everything that's going on. And during the episode, you do learn that an underground movement has begun and it's happening. But again, all of that has happened off screen. It is the equivalency of, again, like I mentioned earlier on, a big action film and everything, and then someone walking out of a room going, oh yeah, the bad guy's dead, I shot him. Oh, thanks. And you're like, what? We've been waiting 2 hours to see the big climactic battle, the big thing, and, all I saw was a load of darkness and horses riding off into the distance.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones reference again for anyone wondering what that was. I'm confused by that. I'm confused at what they're thinking. It feels like you've got a whole season storyboarded, and then they've got to the back half of season 7 and someone has taken a knife to it.
Yeah, someone's suddenly gone, no, look, we've got a massive plot hole here. Get rid of all of that. Quick, start again.
Now, I personally did not like the character of Madison, okay? Now, anyone who's listened to this show for a long time will know that. And I mean, literally, her character died, I fought, and I opened the next podcast with Ding Dong, the witch is gone. Now, that's me. There are a lot of people who love that character and are delighted she's going to return. But if a decision's been made, Madison's coming back, and that has been given to the showrunners, do you see where I'm going with this? It feels like the showrunners had a story, had a plot, knew what they were doing in 7A, and then someone has come along and said, yeah, Madison's back, you need to work that in. Because this 7B is all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, how are we going to make room for Madison? Well, we need to make something happen to make her return be great. And it's like, what though? What do you make? Because we've only got, 4 episodes left?
Yeah, I mean, this is
and
episode
there's
12.
still no hint whatsoever.
Well, I'm wondering if we did get a hint in this episode. I'm wondering if perhaps we did get in this episode the first possible hint at it. And it's a moment where Strand sends his new best mate Wes, by the way, who suddenly is now second in command at the tower. I mean,
talk about getting promotions on your first day.
But like last week he arrived there, and now he's again.
Strand
feels...
is very, very paranoid of absolutely everyone.
Yeah,
but this
he's
guy's
just
walked
arrived.
in and okay.
Yeah, just arrived, and now he's stood next to him like nothing.
Which also makes me question the fact that let's look at the last couple of people that we saw arrive from the Morgan group.
Yeah.
Is June and Grace.
Yeah.
Who were the two people that, spoiler alert, the two people that are planning the underground movement that he now knows about. Yeah. But this next guy that comes in, hey, friend!
Yeah, but he's clearly my bestie. Yeah.
Yeah, that made no sense to me. Like, if you're paranoid, you don't let anybody in.
But it's a perfect... I mean, mate, you've just hit a perfect example of why the storytelling right now is difficult to follow. Because if you're going to accept certain things, like you're going to look at it and go, all right, okay, they've done this with the underground movement off camera, fine. All right, I'm going to accept this. It's a shame we didn't get to see it growing naturally or hints of it so we could piece it together ourselves. All right, fine.
How good would it have been if over the course of the last 3 or 4 episodes...
Little hints,
little bits are dropped in, and you suddenly go, wait. Or Morgan says, "Oh, I've heard from the inside. This is happening." Yeah. You go, well, who's he heard from?
Yeah, I wonder how. Oh, that's got to be Grace. It's got to be Grace. And, you know, you'd start to piece it together yourself, but no, nothing, and then just boom, it's there, and people are being killed for it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, right, fine, but then. If you're going to accept that, and you're going to accept that the reason why people are being killed for it is this intense paranoia that Victor now has, brought about by trusting Morgan when Morgan came in and Morgan tried to poison him. So Victor is paranoid. He is not trusting anyone. The guy who he literally took the tower from, Howard, he no longer trusts simply because someone found a walkie-talkie on him.
Yeah.
In his place. Not that people found him on it talking to someone. Not that he did anything. They just found it in his room. He says, I never put it there. And Victor's like, no, I don't trust you. You're going off. So he is that far gone, okay? He is that paranoid, that mental, and yet Wes is just stood next to him like nothing.
Wes at the end of the episode, you still need a partner? Here I am. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry. So to circle back on that, he sent Wes to get this large antenna. We got this antenna in there. I want you to go get it. The walkie-talkie ranges are fine. From where he is to where Morgan is, he doesn't need an antenna. So he is deliberately increasing his broadcast range because he wants people to hear it. So he wants this to go out to all those groups that have been a bit against him, Morgan's people, to hear him say the words, you know who you are. I've made the offer for you to be here and be safe. You know, come one, come all. What if him increasing that frequency with his voice is what Madison hears, and that's how Madison comes back in?
From what we've seen so far, that does seem the most likely.
Was the only hint so far, really, of... Because if he's increased his signal that much, you know, not only could Madison be overhearing this, but we know... that in this area and in these things, we also have people hunting down the, you know what, the name's gone clean out of my head, the Civic Republic, CRN. Yeah, so the CRM are operating in this area. We know that. The nuclear missiles have gone off, so there's no way the CRM wouldn't be interested in what the hell happened over there.
Yeah.
You know, so we had all these fuel dumps and everything, they've now been leveled because someone set a nuke off. What happened?
Yeah.
So if you're boosting that signal and you're banging that out there, then the CRM could well hear it.
Do you know what? I honestly completely forgot about the CRM in Fear.
Yeah, well, but you know, they're a major plot point.
Yeah, because obviously Al left to go and be with the copter pilot, and so they're going to be in the area. A nuke's gone off. Yeah, they're going to want explanation.
There is no way on this earth they would not want to investigate that. No chance. And so like I said, 7A had a lot. It had a lot of plot points building that we as an audience are like, okay, go on and tell us what's going to... And then nothing. And this is why I'm finding these episodes difficult, because, okay, you've got these stories in there which are okay, and these characters, but what about these points? You know, you literally gave us half a season building towards these things, and now they've all vanished.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we got that. Now, like I said, there are bits in this episode... I got a question for you.
Go on.
Charlie.
Yes.
We saw her character and, you know, got radiation, sickness and all this stuff, and we were a bit kind of like, is she really sick? You know, we were a bit unsure. In this episode, yeah, she's
bad.
Dying.
Yeah, she's not going to last.
She's dying. So, again, I'm kind of... this show, man, I'm like, I don't get it. Charlie's been a pretty major character for quite some time. She a massive role in Madison's downfall. Literally killed her son Nick.
Yeah.
Had a massive story arc with Alicia. A huge story arc then with Daniel.
Yeah.
And Skidmark. So she has been a major character for maybe 3 seasons, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think three. So season 4 she came in, so 5, 6, into 7, 3 and a bit. She has been a major character for that entire time. And she got given a bottle episode in this, and now she's being killed off, but she's being killed off slowly.
And in the background, like majorly in the background.
Yeah, just literally. I mean, just the perfect framing of it is the fact that we learn that she is quite literally dying in this episode while she is in the background of a conversation between June and John Sr.
Yeah. So,
again, I'm kind of like, is there going to be more to... Is there going to be something... You know, we're kind of getting that, but June's medically trained. June looks at that and goes, yeah, she's dead. She's just on borrowed time. Then we as an audience have got to take that as the fact. I mean, this is the apocalypse. There's no hospitals or anything like that open that could possibly treat her, so she is going to die from this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, this just feels...
strangely done. And there was a moment in this where John Dory Sr. asks, oh, what are those marks on her body?
Yeah.
As soon as he said that, I went, he's got it.
Yeah.
Like, instantly, I'm like, you're writing out a main character quite literally in the background, off she goes.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you're making it so obvious about other characters. Like, there was 3 or 4 parts of this episode.
Yeah.
That I had kind of guessed way before they happened.
Well, that one there, I was... That one there about the marks on her body... I'll tell you what, the only reason why I didn't jump on it straight, or the only reason why I jumped on it straight away, rather, is because I couldn't see marks on her body. Like, the image of her, she looks awful, sweaty, terrible, and everything like that. But it wasn't a close-up shot where you could see clear radiation burns. It was just someone who looks like they're really unwell, dying. So when he said that, I was like... Okay, you have literally circled that for a reason. Why would you circle that for a reason? John was the one who pulled her. I bet John's got radiation burns.
Yeah.
And then, true enough, later on, he does show that he has radiation burns. I think it's on his stomach. I think it's his stomach.
It, yeah.
So, like you said, it just feels odd. Like, the storytelling, like, everything they did so well in 7A, it's like, now in 7B, it feels disjointed and feels... garbled. I don't get what's going to happen.
There was another scene later on as well where when they're down in the sewery bit.
Yeah.
And John Dory makes this big comment about, oh, you think that's going to keep you safe. That's not going to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And in my brain, I instantly went, you're going to wear it.
Yeah.
And then when he puts it on at the end of the episode, I'm like, well, you've already told everyone that it's not safe and going to protect you, so you're going to get bitten.
Yeah.
And it was like... It was bits like that I'm like, this episode had all the potential to be a good episode again. But it was the little details like that just kind of made me facepalm, like, why are you drip feeding me this? Why?
I need you to help me out, actually, because when you're sort of looking at something and you're feeling a bit... I don't know if you're like me with this. When I'm being critical of a show at the moment due to different things, I often try to stop myself and look at it and go, do you know what? you're being too critical. Don't
Yeah.
be too critical. That's unfair. The scene when John has been tasked by Strand. So sorry, I'm gonna need to back.
Okay, let's backset it. Yeah.
Baby Mo has gone missing.
Yes.
Baby Mo's gone missing. No one knows what's happened. Howard's, in deep trouble because of this walkie-talkie. So Strand, he says, "I'll get the baby back. I'll get the baby." Strand's like, "Okay, go, you do it." But then turns to John Senior and goes, "John, you're the man for this. You find the baby." And John is already said to June that he wants to influence Strand. He thinks that not having a yes man, but having someone who's actually going to say, "No, we need to do things better here," would help. He thinks Strand can be reasoned with.
Yeah.
John therefore goes looking and starts investigating. He's talking to everybody. He talks to Grace, to June. He realises pretty bloody quickly that June's lying to him, but doesn't really fully understand why.
Yeah.
June makes it abundantly clear that she is lying and, don't tug at this thread, John.
Yes, don't ask me the questions, John. Don't ask me. It's better you don't know.
Yeah.
You might as well just turn around and go, "Yep, I stole the baby and I'm not telling you why."
Basically, exactly that. So this is where we as the audience are like, okay, so there is like an underground movement in the tower. It is the people that we'd assume it would be.
Yeah.
And okay, alright, so fine. He notices that she's like muddy, wet boot prints, so then he goes down to the cellar of the tower, which is basically flooded. There's the dead at the gate, and she has this elaborate plan where Morgan's outside and she is going to basically wear this suit of armour, walk through the dead with Baby Mo wrapped underneath her, and get to Morgan. John tells her that's stupid. And
which, in fairness to John...
Oh, John's absolutely right. This plan is
ridiculous idea.
This is absolute next level moron. That I'm looking at this going, June's not a moron. June has survived on her own and has survived her own people for a long time. Her arc with John Jr. was a great story arc. She is not stupid. What the hell is this? But this is my problem with this scene where we are at. And this is where I need you to go, Sam, you're being too mean.
Okay, this scene in the water bit.
In the water, I'm
going to struggle to do this.
No, man, you're going to help me. Because So this metal grate falls and June is thrust backwards because of the weight of the water and the dead all come through.
Yeah.
There are several aspects of this that just get to me. There are 5 or 6 dead.
Yeah.
Okay? And they have got back up out of the water and are coming forward, wading through the water. They don't... John has one of his guns, obviously doesn't want to fire bullets, giving away the position.
Yeah.
But he does have his gun there. And one of the walkers actually gets up and grabs him by the arm, knocking the gun to the ground.
I mean, in the video, it literally looks like... I genuinely had to watch this twice because I thought at first... I thought it was June had slapped the gun out of his hand as in a don't fire and give it away.
Yeah.
That is what I thought happened because the motion of it looks like someone slaps the gun out of his hand. I thought June's now put them both in trouble by not giving away the position. Oh no, that was a zombie.
Yeah, no, yeah. Because so forget that for one moment.
Yep, park it. I'm going to save the scene. Go on.
Imagine... Anyone who's watched this will know that June was pushed up against the steps.
Yes.
And has this big metal grate.
Yes.
John is to her side.
Yes.
Baby Mo is within a plastic crate.
Yep.
Up a step and away from everything.
Yep.
Can you walk... I'm going to go through bit by bit, and I'd really like you to tell me the logic for each bit, because I need your help.
Yep.
June, who can just go up the steps... to where the exit is, doesn't do that. So, mate, why doesn't she do that? Tell me and make me feel better.
Because she decides the best idea would be grab this heavy grate, so heavy that it's pinned her to the stairs, and then really easily lift it up into position and hold it so that they can't be got to whilst they trap themselves in a little tiny alcove with the baby.
Oh, okay, so there is no logic. Okay, perfect.
No, there's no logic.
Okay.
And then the worst part is, so after that, they then push them all back. They get them all out the way.
And then they retreat back to the same place.
He's got the baby. Yeah, the baby's in the backpack. He's going to try and get his gun. He's got his gun and all that sort of thing.
He shoots a couple.
And instead of running for the stairs to get out, they pick the grades up and walk back into the corner.
Yeah.
And that was the point that I messaged you. I was like, mate, don't rush to watch this. That was the moment. I was like, what are they doing? Neither of these two characters are idiots. Yet they are acting like they've never been in this like world before.
Before that happened, I have another one for you.
Okay.
The baby is in this big plastic tub. Yeah. I would say, during the zombie apocalypse, zombies aren't getting in that.
No.
Why would you take the baby out, making it vulnerable?
I mean, I'm hoping at some point someone has drilled holes in it.
No, because it wasn't sealed. But no. My point is,
you could just lift the baby up in the tub and carry it across. They're just going to scratch the side.
It would have floated across,
and they would have just scratched the side of it and scratched at the lid, unless the lid came off.
Yeah, which it wouldn't have done because you could have sealed it for the 30 seconds it would have taken you to take the 10 steps.
Yeah. And instead, they put the baby in a backpack, and I'm like, what is happening here?
I just can't. Like, that whole scene felt like, we want to create danger, and this is what we're going to do. So we're going to have you two behave like morons that have never seen walkers before, and not only are you going to get the upper hand at one point and then decide actually no and retreat again, you're then going to use the internal comm system to communicate to your rebel alliance where you are. Oh, what a shock. Strand showed up instead.
Yeah, we'd stopped Grace in the lift. She wouldn't tell us where she was going. Why would Grace not lie and say she was going elsewhere to get away from, even if it meant...
Grace, what are you doing in the lift? Well, I was just going to go for some air. Why?
Yeah, you've pressed going down. I know, I hit the wrong button. I've got to go down to go back up again, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Or, where are you going? I'm off to try and find Charlie, see how she's doing. Or,
there are
I'm trying to find the bathroom. There were so many things she could have said. And she's obviously just to do the lift. Where are you going? Can't tell you that.
I don't know.
Grace isn't a bloody idiot either.
No, I know. And it's just this whole, like I said, it feels like they kind of had these scenes in mind and then filled in the blanks with just nonsense. But yeah, thanks, man. You helped me with that scene. I feel much better about it. I feel like we've really
I'm sorry.
We've really enhanced it.
I tried, but it was just
From this moment, Howard feels kind of jubilant. Howard's like, I found the baby. Strand says no. John found the baby, and that was a moment where I think Howard went, oh, I hope I learn how to fly really quickly because I'm going off the roof.
Yeah.
We then have a scene, hammering it rain, John, Howard, Strand looking at them both. Strand tells John, you want to be the man, you want to be the right-hand man, you got to throw Howard off the roof. Howard's kind of like, no, don't do that.
Howard's like, hold up, mate, we found the baby, I proved it wasn't me, what's going on? Yeah. And then John Dory has this moment that I've been waiting for the entire episode.
Yeah.
And admits that he hid the walkie-talkie.
Yep. John did it. John framed Howard so he could have a conversation with Strand.
And the problem is, he's already admitted to June that he did it.
Yeah.
But even when he admitted to June in the dumb water scene, there was no kind of, oh my God, I can't believe John would do that. Because it's in his nature, because as June says, wait, you planted evidence on someone that wasn't guilty before.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was no shock. This was a continuation. Do you know what? That's one of the few things in this episode I was kind of like, okay. Yeah, I get that. I get John doing that.
And June's like, did you not learn from the first time? Clearly not.
His son would struggle with that, but John Sr. clearly we know doesn't. I love the fact she asked him if he was drinking, Frankie foreshadow moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, John gets told, unless you want me to bring June and Grace up here and start throwing them off the roof, Howard needs to learn how to fly. So boom, Howard goes over. Thank you, John. And Howard, a character that's been in it a little while, been quite an interesting character, the guy who literally had the tower before Strand weaseled it out of him.
The guy
somehow.
Who they finally gave a little bit of backstory to this episode.
And
killed him.
Brian Bray. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of thought there was a little part of me that was like, oh, okay. So he's talking about he made the mistake, he lied and forged his bit of document and he lost his wife and son, but by having the tower and this they use the word legacy too many times in this episode. But by having this legacy of the tower and everything, it means that when they announce to everyone they're there, his wife and child will find them. In my head, I'm like, oh, that could be the start of Howard not being a bad guy, because he'll see how Strand is with Mo, and then maybe he'll go, no, you can't be like that, it's all a lie, and Howard could come, good, okay, he's dead.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you gave us all that backstory and character development.
You've said it to me before, and perhaps because you were looking at different aspects in this episode, it didn't hit you. But you've said it to me that whenever The Walking Dead gives a character a real scene, a real chance to shine, they're dead.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
It happened with young Charlie. She get a bottle episode, a coming of age episode, which I still have a lot of problems with.
So many problems.
And now dying from it. And now we've got this guy, Howard. We finally get his backstory friend. And also, we then get the moment where Victor's like, oh, don't feel bad, his wife and kid's dead. And John's like, what? He's like, oh, yeah, we found them months ago. Like, they turned a long time ago. So, yeah, don't worry about it. You know, no one cared about him. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That was cold. That was pretty ice cold.
Yeah, but he needed a reason to be motivated. We told him. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the last episode. The only reason Daniel was motivated is because of his dead child.
Yeah.
And you've done the exact same thing here as well.
Well, that to me is another plot point which I think I'd like you to consider, because young Wes has walked away because of the way they are manipulating Daniel.
Yep.
Wes is now bezies with Strand,
who is manipulating people the same way.
I don't get Wes.
No,
I don't get that whole thing. I feel like, why would Strand have him there given everything that's happened? Why would Wes want to go there given the story we've been told? It makes no sense at all.
No.
This whole back half of the season. We then have John Sr., who of course went down to get baby Mo to bring back to Strand, legacy, then decide, actually, no, Strand, you're a bad guy, aren't you? And I'm going to take this baby away from you.
And just hits him in the back of the head. Like, doesn't even kill him. Just knocks him out.
This is a question I've got for you here, okay? Why? Why didn't he pull the trigger?
Because by only knocking him out, it puts June, Grace both in serious death danger.
This is like, you know, there is an underground movement within the tower.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not just two people that think that things should be run differently. There is a big group in there.
Yeah.
You also know that there were a lot of people at the tower that followed Howard, but the minute Strand threw him off the roof, they were like, Team Strand, whoop whoop.
Yeah.
You therefore must know that this army that's there, these rangers, these people that are loyal to Strand, are basically loyal to the tower.
Yeah.
So if you're the boss man, you're in charge. You know, John knows he's dying at this point. We as the audience haven't had it fully revealed, but he knows he's brown bread. So why? Why, when you've got a gun to the back of the man's head, this to me is like the equivalency of recognising someone as Hitler. He is literally murdering people, throwing them off the roof, and laughing maniacally about it. The guy is so far gone, so out, so beyond redemption, and yet you decide to knock him unconscious. Like, I'm just so... He had this whole arc, John Sr., about chasing a mass murderer.
Yeah.
His whole life was about that. Everything that broke him. And now he's back drinking again because of what's happened, how he's got to this place. And he's got the opportunity to stop another one. He literally has the opportunity to prevent Strand from killing more people that he cares about, killing just more innocent people. And he doesn't take it. And I am sure there's people out there who can give me a really good justification. And if you're one of them, drop me an email. Because right now, I am struggling with that.
I genuinely believed Strand was dead.
Yeah,
at that moment, I was like,
I thought,
damn, he's going to kill him.
And that whole episode would suddenly have become wow. Like, I would have just been, I never saw that coming. John Sr. has just, what the...
and then he could have even given the exact same line afterwards of looked at Mo and gone, this tower's not my legacy, the baby is. And it would have still worked just as good. But now we'll be sitting there going, well, what's going to happen in the tower now? Is Howard going to take control? Is Howard going to be even worse?
No, Howard's dead.
Oh, yeah, Howard's dead. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Who's going to be in charge of the tower? Yeah. What's going to happen? Is the underground movement now not underground? Is Morgan going to get the tower?
We would have been... That episode could have ended with that, and we'd have just been like, oh my god, give me the next episode right now.
Instead, we're like, well, in the next episode, in the next episode, I would assume that June and Grace are in serious trouble. However, knowing how this season's going, probably not going to see them in the next episode.
So here's the thing. The baby's taken out by John. John does this stupid walk through the walkers... and
in armour that he's already said won't protect anyone.
Singing Sonny Boy. So much about this scene I dislike, so we're just not going to talk about it. I'm sorry. I saw a load of people on Twitter talking about how great it was. Really?
No, it was ridiculous. Sorry, we're going to have to talk about it because it was just so ridiculous. Like, number one, you're wearing this random body armour suit that you've already made out to the audience as that's not going to protect you. Look at all the gaps, is basically what it. Secondly, there is a scene where you can see his fingers right next to a walker's mouth because there's no protection for the fingers, and the walker turns its head and bites the armour.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there, that was badly edited. The baby... is literally just put inside a bit of chest armour.
Yep.
Massive gaps around the side and the top.
Yep.
Very, very easy to be scratched, bitten, etc.
Yep.
No protection for the baby at all.
Nope.
John Dory, Senior, is wearing this armour and like an old school cap, like military helmet.
Yep. Yeah.
But apparently has nothing on his shoulders or his neck.
Nope.
But doesn't get bitten the whole way. Like...
Just his upper arm?
Just his upper arm. Not the neck or anything like that at all.
Yeah, nothing that would kill him and stop him.
No.
No.
And, however, he then gives the baby to Morgan.
Yep.
And then goes, I will give you time. Don't worry.
And they immediately bite his neck.
Straight for the neck.
Yeah.
And the guy, I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, as people listening to the podcast will know, I have a 4-year-old and a newly 7-year-old stepchildren in the house.
Yep.
The other day, the 4-year-old was eating carrot sticks and didn't move his finger out the way fast enough and bit his finger.
Yeah.
And lost his mind. Like, I thought he had just stepped on a plug.
Yep.
John Dory is getting his neck, shoulders and everything ripped apart and he's wincing a bit. Like,
Tough man.
No!
what a tough guy,
like, he's literally going, that stings a bit. Oh, you've just taken the entire collarbone out. Oh, that's... What? I'm like, come on. I've bit my tongue. I know how much that brings tears to my eyes when I bite my tongue. Yeah. But if someone was ripping flesh out of me, I would be screaming and probably rolling on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one of those things that will always bug me about any of the Walking Dead shows.
There are things like that in amongst it, like epic deaths.
Yeah.
You kind of go... person's in shock. You're in the moment, if that makes sense. But in this scene, you've just again highlighted exactly where this feels like disjointed, edited. Like, what are you thinking? That all the walkers watched him walk through them and went, Oh, lads, his neck. If he comes back, neck. He didn't have armour there.
Yeah, I've just spotted it.
Yeah. Oh, if only we'd spotted that 5 metres ago. Oh, he's coming back. Oh, neck, lads,
ignore the baby. Yeah. Ignore the obvious baby that's making a noise. Ignore the baby.
Ignore that. Also, by the way, how was that kid just not freaking out? I mean... Anyway, look, I can't. Like I said, I really didn't even want to touch that scene. I just want to walk away from it. Morgan's got the baby and leaving. Now, it wasn't that long ago that Strand literally said that, the baby stays here, the baby stays safe, Grace comes, you even so much as try and do this, everyone dies.
Yeah.
Morgan clearly don't care about anyone else anymore then.
Yeah,
because he arranged to take the baby and only the baby.
Yeah, sod Grace, sod June.
And Strand doesn't make good on his threat. He makes the threat again. You step foot in here, I'll kill them. Now, that kind of makes sense. From a Strand point of view, it's kind of like the threat of that is surely better than the realisation, because he knows if he throws those people off the roof now as punishment, Morgan just puts the baby down, picks up his axe and walks back towards him, ripping through everybody.
And Strand still has that slight thing of June is the Doctor.
Yeah, and you got to keep the Doctor safe in the apocalypse. There can be only one. They're like Highlanders.
Yeah, your only option is keep the Doctor you have completely safe, wrapped in bubble wrap, or find a second one and let them fight to the death. They are your options. Right.
Those are the options. Yeah, but look, that for me is about as much as I want to say about this episode. I think
it should have been brilliant. It should have been so good. Like the concept behind it should have been great.
John Dory Sr.'s gone, so we now finally have a conclusion to the John Dory storyline, which got cut short with John Dory because the actor left, and they brought in his dad to basically finish their story arc.
Would have been interesting to see if it had gone the same way if John Dory Jr. had been around.
I don't think it would have been identical, but I think his death trying to save the baby would have been... It would have been far more impactful for me personally, because I always felt his father figure was kind of a strange subplot, brought about through necessity, not good storytelling. But look, it's what it is. The actor who left is a phenomenal actor, and he's sorely missed. But John Dory Sr. is now gone. John Dory's gone. That is sad for me. But the episode had so much in it that you kind of went, oh, that's interesting, but why have they done it like this?
Yeah,
I think that's my overriding feeling. It's kind of like that's good, but why not? Why have you done it like that? And so as I come away from it, it's episode 13 next. Like you say, there's 16 episodes left. We know Madison's showing up at some point. Perhaps it's literally going to be an after credits episode 16. Who knows? But at some point, that story arc has to arrive. We know that.
Yeah.
And then to set up season 8, which I'm guessing is going to be even more intertwined into the Walking Dead universe based on everything that's being written. But yeah, look, that was Fear the Walking Dead, season 7, episode 12, Sunny Boy. We will be back next week to discuss episode 13. Walking Dead Wednesdays continues. There still hasn't been confirmation yet of when the Walking Dead's final 8 episodes are going to air.
Yes.
But as soon as there is, keep an eye out for that. We'll put that on our Facebook page. We are using the Facebook page now to be a kind of entertainment hub. News about shows, movies and stuff like that will all be on there. So make sure you give that Facebook page a like if you're on Facebook. Because we've already had a few comments from people already who are really enjoying that change.
Cool.
But yeah. That is us for this week. We hope you'll join us again next week. It'll be Fear the Walking Dead episode 13 next week for Walking Dead Wednesday. If you're interested in all things Marvel Comics, Marvel Studios, Marvel Mondays, roll on. We did 6 weeks with each episode of Moon Knight. If you've watched that show or are watching that show, go back and check those out as and when. The Monday coming up very soon, which I think will be... Let me work that out. It's the... Yeah, the Monday coming, we'll be talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you've not seen that yet, obviously just save it until you have. If you have seen the movie, be sure to join us for that, because we're going to have a lot of fun with that one. But yeah, until next time, everybody, you all take care.
That's a wrap.
Though you're only 3, sonny boy,
You've no way of knowing.
there's no way of showing
What you mean to me, honey boy.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.